I'm listening to the lady that Roy Moore is accused of having improper sexual. How did they say it? Anyway, overtures to her. And that was 1979. And I'm watching, this is on NBC, but they're all doing this. They're interviewing her, and I have nothing against her. It's great she spoke out. And all of these, Roy Moore and all the movie actors and the people have been accused suddenly of being inappropriate and accused of rape. All these people with the hashtag Me Too. You know, I was kidnapped and brought over here, which seems to be a joke. None of these women that I'm aware of, the last ones, have any proof of it other than their word. I had proof. I couldn't have made it up. I was kidnapped and brought here to this country at age 2 by JFK, a most loved person. By the way, it's coming up in a couple, Wednesday, the day he was shot. You talk about assassinated. He was appointed, and here I go and sounding like I'm rambling, and I've gone to the press when I was doing the book in 76, 77, 78. I was trying to tell people about mind control. And by the way, I wasn't going to mention this, but Manson died. He was supposed to be a mass killer. Now then, I've said a long time ago when I started finding out about mind control murders, Manson was, and Squeaky Fromm, that shot at the president, Ford, she was over here when I came here in 86, in 1987, in the winter, and believe me, in West Virginia and in Virginia, it gets blooming cold, especially out in the forest and higher elevations. Okay, she escaped from the West Virginia prison there, and if I'm not mistaken, that's where her name slips me. She was the one that did all the cooking shows, and she ended up in prison there. And I think I'm correct in saying that former FBI director Comey was the one that prosecuted her. I've forgotten her name right now. She's come back to have another program on TV. And I liked her. I'm just putting it there, I guess, because the association with the prison. Where Fromm was, she was probably released, or, well, they sent her somewhere else. She broke loose from the prison, women's prison there, and escaped out in the cold. And the odd thing I remember was that they sent a limo to pick her up and take her back to prison. So what else was I going to say? I don't know if there's anything else I was going to say. I have been, these people who have suddenly come up there, and all this women in support all over the world and country. And, I remember none of this has been told, the things when I was a child and growing up, and the things that were done to me then. And I remember on one occasion, and I'm just going to leave it out. Hopefully all of it will be told. We had to move. The person that committed the crimes, anyway, I'm going to have to quit. I mean, this lady, and nothing against her, that at age 14, Roy Moore was supposed to have assaulted her. She's saying now that she has all the support from people, and it, of course, it makes her feel good. I didn't have that. I was almost killed. I've begged. I have pleaded. I've begged. I have pleaded. I've been made a pauper. People hate my guts. They really do. I was kidnapped and brought over here and all these vile things, and you have no idea. And you don't want to know, America, what you did to a child and to my children. I can't even tell it. I mean, I could tell it, but I hope that this is all brought where it should be, before a world court. And I've always said the last years, no one but God can prosecute it. The war crimes are held in the Netherlands, and the people that kidnapped me and brought me over here are in part that are responsible, you think they're going to prosecute themselves? You think Henry Kissinger's going to prosecute himself? So if I sound rambling, maybe it's because, like Jack Hartsfield, the reporter, said, someone who did try to help. He said, as I go back in time and forward in time. And that's what I've tried to do, to tell people the horror story that was done to me and my family and to my mom and dad. And my hope is to clear my dad's name, Edward VIII, a beautiful man who wouldn't go along with the crooked Illuminati, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers. Joe Kennedy was ambassador by Roosevelt. And JFK helped kidnap me and bring me to a hellhole called Moulton, Alabama in 1941 at age 2. The things that were done to me there and continued to be done because of who I am and done to my children. And at the time they were being done, I didn't know why. Later on, I thought it was because of the book that some of the things were happening, like April Fool's Day. I really am almost afraid again to put that up. And then you find out the doctors I wrote about. I was writing about mind control, and I was writing about rape too, getting cases of rape. And I remember one of them came from, now I've forgotten, it was outside Philadelphia, Allentown. And it was odd because I couldn't get the records. I was buying them. And somehow I called, and guess who picks up? And it really was him. It was Judge Lord, a federal judge, because it was done in federal court, and it's where the psychiatrist raped the patient. And she was Jewish. And it ended up that everybody turned against her. They wouldn't let her go and see her sons. And this is the only case. I had some more cases, a bunch. Larry McDonald, Congressman Doctor, was one of them, who later his plane went down in 83 from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea. It went in the ocean with 260 plus people on it. And he was one that helped in the shooting of Larry Flint. And Mr. Flint did an article supporting me in a campaign, and I was flown out there in the campaign in 83. He was shot by a program shooter. So for some reason, and I'm going back and forth, I learned about my kidnapping and who I am and why the things were done to me. I learned about mind control murders and how they're done. And somehow people, they want to open up Facebook, or they want to turn on TV, and they don't want to hear anything about what America has done, the crimes. And by the way, my own family, Elizabeth, who you all love, you dote on her, and Kate Middleton, and the whole family there. That's illegal. They're a bunch of low-life scumbag crooks. But as long as she's wearing a crown, mine's a crown of thorn. If I have a crown, it's a crown of thorn. I am the legitimate heir the day I was born. You took out my father, a great man. I bet this is not going up. Well, it is. Excuse me. And as of today, it stands, all the lies and books written about my father. He was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, my mom, an American school teacher. By the way, the O'Keefes back then, before everybody got into their money, had money themselves. They weren't paupers like I've been made. My mom had a home in Bel Air. She was a school teacher. George O'Keefe's my aunt. They took out Georgia's money. Oliver, can't think of his name now, took care of her in her last years, was like a companion aid, and I think he helped her in some of the things she did there on Ghost Ranch. But he got a hold, well, it was a fake will, and after there's been so much done by this government and by the Illuminati to wipe out everything, my name, what happened to my dad, the Wallace Simpson marrying a double. It's so appalling to me that because my father, excuse me, I'm sure somebody will make something of that because I'm sitting here in hell. My father, a decent man, a good man, married to my mom, and they were always married to each other. They were still alive when I came here in '86. And I do remember a portrait was brought, a huge portrait, and I was had just been christened. My father was holding me. It's similar to the picture I put up all the time in Facebook and on YouTube. Only he was holding me. They stole that portrait and brought it with me and put it up against the wall there in Moulton where they took me at that pigsty farm. And they handed me to Lina Dempsey, who had killed her twins. They were born out of wedlock. So I'm transported by JFK and Company across, and I have all these vile things done to me. I didn't have any sport like this woman back in '79, and nothing against her, but she's on network television now. I've gone to all the media. I've crawled. I've told about the mind control murders, all of this. And I'm 79 years old almost. And my kids, I don't know where my sons are. And all these women suddenly coming out. And they didn't go to court. And they've got all the support. If my story is ever told, it would have to be God that brought about any kind of justice in it. And I've found a few along the way that did try